Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to 10 Central Pointers. Before we start, I'd want you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any videos in the future. For most death row prisoners, their last sentences are apologies or condolences before they are hanged. But for the majority of the executed prisoners, they use their last words as a means of threatening or intimidating others before they take their final breath. This opportunity is usually given just before the prisoner is executed in the very last minute. So let us talk about the top 10 scary last words from prison inmates. 1. Peter KURTEN. Peter KURTEN was also known as the Vampire of Dusseldorf. Vampire because he would drink the blood of the victims who were still alive at that moment. He was subsequently arrested and sentenced to death by beheading for committing a series of murders and sexual offences. He ordered fried potatoes and a bottle of white wine before the day of his execution, and the next morning he was taken to the guillotine to get his head chopped off. His last words were, "Tell me after my head has been chopped off, will I still be able to hear, at least for a moment, the sound of my own blood gushing from the stump of my neck? That would be a pleasure to end all pleasures." 2. Robert Alton Harris. Robert was arrested when he and his brother took over a car with two young boys in it. They asked them to drive to a specific location where they brutally murdered those teenagers and then used the car for escaping the San Diego bank robbery. He was arrested soon after the robbery and was charged for multiple crimes. He was executed in a gas chamber just after he said, "You can be a king or a street sweeper, but everyone dances with the Grim Reaper." 3. James French. He was a convicted murderer and was in fact the last individual to have been sentenced under Oklahoma's death penalty. He was already sentenced to life imprisonment and he wanted to die, so he murdered his cellmate and was executed by the electric chair. His last words were funny, and that's what makes them scary. He said, "How's this for a headline? French fries." John AVALOS ALBA. John was out on bail for child molestation charges during which he fatally shot his wife. He was sentenced to death on May 25th, 2010, and was prepped to be executed by lethal injection. After he was injected, he said, "Okay, warden, let's do it. I love y'all. I can taste it already. I'm starting to go." 5. LAVINIA Fisher. Some people believe that she has been the first woman serial killer who was also hanged in the United States, but she really didn't kill anyone. According to the story, she and her husband ran a hotel. She used to gain the trust of their customers and then get them to drink sedative tea somehow, and once they would lose their consciousness, it was her husband that did all the stabbing. Regardless of the debate, her last words were, "If you have a message and want to send it to hell, give it to me. I'll carry it." 6. George Harris. George exchanged his earrings from a game for 2 machine guns and then he gave them to a guy to hold onto them for safekeeping. After a few days, when he asked him to return those machine guns, the guy told him that he had lost them and he doesn't know where the guns are. So George shot him with his revolver and was eventually sentenced to be executed. His last words? "Somebody needs to kill my trial attorney," as he was not content with his performance. Christina Marie Riggs. Christina was a mother of 2 children. She gave them sedatives and then choked them to death with a pillow. Her failed suicide attempt led to her execution eventually. Her last words were, "There is no way words can express how sorry I am for taking the lives of my babies. Now I can be with my babies, as I always intended." Timothy McVeigh. Timothy was behind one of the deadliest acts of terrorism in the United States, the Oklahoma City bombing. He was executed through lethal injection. His famous last words, "I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." 9. PANZRAM. He was captured in November 1928 when he confessed about his killings and sexual harms. His last words before execution were, "In my lifetime, I have murdered 21 human beings. I have committed thousands of burglaries, robberies, larcenies, arsons, and last but not least, I have committed sodomy on more than 1,000 male human beings. For all of these things, I am not in the least bit sorry." 10. Tom KETCHUM. The day of his execution was the largest public event in the state because he was the first person to be hanged for a train robbery in New Mexico. His last words were, "I'll be in hell before you start breakfast. Boys, let her rip." This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen right now and I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.